Hi, I'm Anna from astralladytarot in Amsterdam. Today I'm doing a VR. I saw it yesterday. It's from Toadstool Tarot, and he's doing hashtag major favorites, I believe. It's very reminiscent of the hashtag 22 faves or something along those lines that I did on Instagram a few years ago. It's a lot of fun. It's also very frustrating because you're supposed to pick one favorite Fool card. You're supposed to pick one favorite Magician card. You're supposed to pick one favorite High Priestess card. And that's kind of how you make a majors only compilated tarot deck, you could say. And I did that yesterday evening, and so I figured I would film it today. I don't have only one favorite. It's impossible to do. I will do my best to not show you the 5 favorites that I have or the 7 favorites that I have. Of course, it's really hard to choose. But also I've noticed that with some of those major cards, I haven't found my favorite yet. For instance, it was particularly hard for me to find a favorite Hanged Man. Same with the Devil. And I don't feel I've found my favorite Empress. I'm not sure about the Lovers. I really like my traditional, old school looking tarot cards. My favorite Marseille, or even favorite deck you could say, is the Trionfi de la Lune Paradoxical by Patrick Valenza. And it's featured in this compilation deck, for sure. But I realized that I really would love a traditional Marseille with a similar vibe. So, not a Marseille that is with white backgrounds or even eggshell backgrounds. I'm not sure. I really need that kind of like a darker underworld type of vibe that the Trionfi de la Luna is giving me, but in a more traditional looking Marseille. I think that would be great because, for instance, for my last video, I was talking about Rider-Waite-Smith meanings compared to the Marseille meanings, so in my mind, more original meanings, well, not only in my mind, more original meanings, at least of what we know. And I was kind of forced to use my one and only actual traditional Marseille, which is the Camoin Jodorowsky. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice deck. It's just so starch white. It's just not what I like to work with. That was a little disclaimer. Let's get into it. Favorite Fool card. So I have 6 cards right here. You know what? Although it kind of breaks my heart to see the other 3 go, I'm going to show you the 3 that were on top. I love this Fool. It's called the Wanderer. I love it because it's that perspective from you are the Fool and you're about to take that leap. This is from the Wildwood. Yeah. It's just cool, and it makes me dive into that world, dive into those woods, dive into this feeling of wonder. Yeah, definitely not traditional. It's funny, I'm saying I really love the traditional looking cards, but at the same time, I hardly have any traditional looking cards here. I'm gonna have a hard time remembering all of these titles by Tarot of the Crone. This is the first Fool card that I thought about as my favorite Fool card. And it's not necessarily favorite in a way of the artwork or anything like that. It's very powerful because you have not only this figure in the kind of mountains kind of thing that's huge and big, and you can be that, but at the same time the navel of that person, the belly button, which is, in my opinion, around there, is that life force energy, isn't it? The energy of the self. That's where your sense of self is and your self-empowerment. So you could easily say that's the spot, the point in your body where God is you or is in you, kind of thing. So at the same time, this little belly button looking thing is also a teeny tiny similar figure. So you are this, it just brings a whole different perspective. It brings me to you are the God within, and at the same time there's also this bigger void that you are either falling in or floating in or ascending in, and you are as big as or as small as you think you are, you could say. Then I have this one from the Elemental Tarot. I really love this depiction. It's a young man. He's against the trunk of a tree, which is always a thing that I love. Potential. I am the unlearned. and they can learn from me. I love it. Okay, my magician cards. Okay, good, I only have 3. This is the first magician card I thought of. Funny, right? Because it's this is from the DruidCraft, and he's there with the stones, and it's all very earthy and at the same time very powerful. And yeah, I like this guy. Then I saw this one. So I'm also thinking about the Hermetic Tarot right now and how I missed out on putting that magician or magus or Hermes in this video, but I have Mercury right here from the Tantric Dakini Oracle or Secret Dakini Oracle, which I love very much. You can see the snakes, kind of like the Mercury or Hermes' staff. Sorry, the caduceus. I don't know how you say that in English, but it just looks really powerful and strange and dark. My favorite high priestess of all, or priestess I should say, is from the Thoth. To me, she has this net of stars that I talked about in my personal symbols in tarot video, something along those lines. And that's how I have this strong connection to her. Yeah, she's just really beautiful and powerful, and she's absolutely cosmic. Love her. Then I also feel that this priestess from the Tarot of the Crone is very powerful, and she's green rather than blue, because most of the high priestesses are blue, aren't they? I don't know, this green is also bringing me different vibes, and I'm into it. I just love those, kind of like here, those stones type things. So even though I'm saying I really love the traditional tarot cards, I also really love more nature-based decks. I don't know, I can't choose. I'm showing you both. I said I wouldn't do that, but Elemental Tarot, Original Mythic Tarot. I have to check in there to see if I'm actually showing you the cards. So I love this Persephone. It's a perfect depiction for the High Priestess. And then here we have the High Priestess. Yeah, I have to work with her a little bit more, but just the depiction, I guess, receptivity is beautiful. And I also love that there are trees in the backgrounds and then the full moon. I love that there's that obvious connection between the High Priestess and the moon this way. Empress, like I said, I don't feel I found my perfect Empress, but I always liked seeing this one from the Wild Unknown. Another tree and the moon. Wow, maybe we're going to start seeing a pattern here. I guess this one's not bad either. This is Demeter. Oh, that almost rhymed. From the Mythic Tarot, Original Mythic Tarot. And then I really like this one as well. She has something, I can't explain it, from the Thoth. Something special. Emperor. Okay, so Pagan Otherworlds, unpopular opinion, this is a deck I don't enjoy working with, but I keep holding on to it. Not sure why, but this Emperor, you hardly ever get to see an Emperor like this, with the horns. He actually has the head of a ram on his head, but I guess that deck is just a little too minimal for my taste. Then here, look at this, the archetype of the child for me in the Council of Seven video. This is the Tarot of a Moon Garden. I always like this Emperor. He is so, I don't know, these big ram horns, but at the same time he looks really kind, caring. I'm choosing this one from the Wildwood. The Green Man. Great depiction, I think. It's a different archetype than Emperor. Slightly different. But I like, again, that nature feel. So a lot is happening in my street right now, as you can probably hear, but let's just ignore that. I really love this Hierophant from the Thoth. The Rider-Waite-Smith, which is a deck I love so much, gets so much hate for his Hierophant, but I also get it. It's different from this card. I don't know. This card is so appealing and doesn't immediately remind you of church or anything like that, which may be a little bit of a shadowy side for some people who are into tarot. I also always loved this archetype, the Ancestor, which brings a whole other idea to the Hierophant. This is from the Wildwood. Love it. Not exactly my favorite Hierophant, but with the key and the lightning bolt and the kind of darker feel, and of course very much crow or raven energy, which I am very much about. Just for that energy, I guess, from the Wild Unknown. I like this one. The Lovers. Okay, our first true favorite Rider-Waite-Smith cards from the majors. I love the symmetry in this card. I also have really good memories with this card. Very sweet and successful associations, you could say. Again, Tarot of the Moon Garden, just because these lovers are so intertwined in nature. I mean, they practically are the tree, and you can see the roots and all of those ferns, and it's all very magical. Then I also have this one from the Polka Tarot, which is a pip deck, and it's a very dark vibe, but a lot of fun, dark humor at the same time, and I don't know, I kind of like these. Wouldn't exactly say it's my favorite, but okay, the Chariot. This is fun because this was the card that was, when I started learning tarot, my absolute least favorite. It was actually a shadow card, because all I could see was ego. All I could see was this loudness, this obnoxious. As you all know probably by now, the deck I learned the tarot with was the Rider-Waite-Smith, and look at this. I've definitely worked with this card, and it's actually one of my favorite chariots now. With these colors and this energy, I can't help but think of Jimi Hendrix. I don't really know why. I have a song for this card. It's the Straight Ahead song. Straight ahead now. I love it now. Then I also have to show you this beauty from the Elemental Tarot, Ambition. And now I can, like, you know, make that difference between ego and, like, in an ugly sense, and ambition in an unhealthy way or obnoxious way, and ambition being something really powerful. But at the same time, this card is also showing me that other side that I felt first, but I kind of love it. It says, I am compassionate and I am cruel. I am the one who is praised and the one despised. Ah, absolutely. This is so good. Maybe this is my favorite Chariot card, just because of that extra explanation. Next, I want to show you this one from the Halloween Tarot, just because it's awesome and very mischievous. Fun. And also, I want to share you the Chariot from the Tarot of the Crone. Now, I love this one. Well, not exactly the depiction of it, but rather the idea. A witch on a broomstick flying. The absolute stereotype of a witch. But I love it for the Chariot because being a witch, to me, is the same as owning power over your own life, over your own choices, and especially, well, in my personal opinion, as a woman. Next, Justice. I had to pick this one from the Mythic Tarot because it's Athena, and I love her. Also, in my previous house, I had the same kitchen tiles. Finally, we get to see this beauty, the Alchemical Tarot by Robert M. Place. She's just awesome. She has all of these, so much symbolism, and just, I have to work with this deck more. So cool. And at the same time, very meaningful. Hermit. Also Alchemical Tarot. I love it because there's an Ouroboros there and also a raven. That energy works for me. Then, this was actually in the Trionfi della Luna, used to be one of my least favorite majors, and I've really grown to love him. He is so sweet and kind and happy, and that's different from many of the hermits' depictions that we see in other decks, where it's all about introspection and contemplation, and there is that, but this is like the next step, kind of like sharing that happiness that he found. I really love that. Also, when I was last summer in Paris with my partner, we went to Père Lachaise, obviously, and it's so beautiful there, and it was an extremely hot day, but with all those trees, and it was really cool there, and I decided to draw a card for the souls that were there. I couldn't help it, and this is the card that I got. It fits so well. Next, I also have this one, the Shaman from the Elemental Tarot, Will. You can see the 5 elements there, the nice quintessence. Again, this hermit is not so much introspective, but rather using his powers, or using his wisdom, or it's the power of the will. In my weakness, do not forsake me, do not be afraid of my power. Wheel of Fortune. I really don't mind this one. More natural. You are making your own fortune. You're making your own way. A projective circle. Also Wheel of Time, you could say. I do like to work with the phases of the moon and the Wheel of the Year in my own way, of course, but she's holding that Wheel of the Year in her hands. And it's just a very nice idea, right? Just on the beach. The 3 Fates, the Moirai from the Mythic Tarot. Love this card, love this depiction, love this idea also. Love the myth. This is also the Maiden, Mother, and Crone type of energy, and they spin the Wheel of Time. I think that's really nice. Then I also have this one from the Trionfi della Luna, one of my favorite majors from that deck. I just love this whole thing. I love the little guy on top, the little demon friend. I love the fact that it's set in a desert. I love that you can see all the elements, all the suits, I should say. And it's a starry night. Strength. I am a Libra, and my birth card is supposed to be justice, because my birth number, how do you say that, becomes 8. Diminishes to 8. But again, the first deck I learned with was Rider-Waite-Smith, so at first I was looking at the strength card. To be honest, I still see it as a part of my birth card. I just have 2 now, okay? Yeah, I have strength and justice. I've learned to embrace that justice aspect of myself, and still the strength. Also with the pure woman and the lion, somehow I figured it's also kind of like my first name, because I always introduce myself Anna. I've been doing that for years now, even though my mother hates that. She named me Anna Livia, and in a way I kind of feel like those 2 aspects of myself, there's Anna, but then also I'm actually Livia, I'm Anna Livia, it's a double name. I have 2 names, and I also have 2 cards, and I'm a Libra, and I'm in between, and it totally fits the whole Libra thing, doesn't it? I love, love, love this card. This is my favorite card from the entire Trionfi della Luna deck, because I feel that I am her. This is me. I'm looking into a mirror, and I think I've said that before, but something along these lines is going to be tattooed on me one of these days. Perfect in all our imperfections. Look at these two side by side. The day and night energy. Love it. Then I also have the Alchemical Tarot. Really love this. With the green lion, it's all of that symbolism is really strong, and I loved it, and I felt that it fit in really well with the Strength card. Hangman. I had some trouble finding a Hangman that was actually my favorite, and I don't feel that I actually found it, but this one appealed to me. It's from the Royal Fez Moroccan Tarot deck. I like it because it's those very finely drawn. It's actually Rider-Waite-Smith clone, but I really like these little tiny leaves on top. That gives me a more serene feel, I guess. Death. This is the moment where I was like, why don't I have a traditional Marseille? Makes no sense. Death in traditional Marseille is the Arcana number 13. This is the closest to a traditional that I have. You don't see the name Death, but you see number 13 is from Trionfi Luna, obviously. Love it, with these ravens at the back, or crows, or whatever. Little hummingbird type monster from the Wild Unknown. Not bad at all. Showing that decay into the earth, giving food to new growth. With the Black Sun from the Alchemical Tarot. I also just really want to include this one from the New Orleans Voodoo Tarot, Les Morts, meaning the dead, which brings a whole other idea and aspect to the death card, because we're not dealing with death itself, we're dealing with the ones who have passed. I thought that was really nice. Temperance. Trionfi della Luna, but why do I love this card so much? Because of the elephant in the back. It may sound strange, but I'm working with elephant energy at the moment. So serene. I like this one. I don't feel though I actually have found the right favorite temperance card. Same with the devil. I love this one because it says Solve Coagula from the polka, even though we just had it in the temperance card, didn't we? It's just a nice vibe, this one. Strange of me to say that, but that's what I feel. Then, I mean, similar color palette from the Alchemical Tarot, looks amazing. And then I also really love Cernunos from the DruidCraft. Different idea, different depiction. I really love that thing where we admit that there's a horned god, but it's not Satan, it's not the devil. That's a whole other entity. Cernunos. Love that guy, right? The tower, the haunted house in the Halloween Tarot. There's so much going on. I love this. It's so sweet. Always loved this one from the DruidCraft. One of the first tower cards I saw that had water in the card, which implied that the people falling from the tower didn't fall onto the rocks and killed themselves, but fell into the water and are able to swim. Next, this one, I'm working with the lightning card from Trionfi della Luna. This one really is difficult to accept, more even than a beautiful building that is being demolished. A tree is always, I don't know, it's a living being. The star, just showing you this one because it's so dreamy and beautiful. I don't know, it's showing you're a monster but an angel at the same time, which makes you a human. And then I also really like this one. Not traditional at all, but from the Wildwood. Again, with that same kind of perspective where you are the one making the journey. And this star is kind of like a guiding point in the sky, so that you know where you are in the forest, in the deep dark forest. The moon, my absolute ever favorite moon card that I have a deep connection to this artwork, is the moon to me. Nothing can beat that. This is the best card. I love it so much. I also really love those dogs. Alchemical Tarot. Similar vibe. Mythic Tarot. Sun. My absolute favorite sun card is in the Thoth. This is the most beautiful sun card I've ever seen. So just one for that. But not because, like with the Hangman, I couldn't find it. I couldn't find my favorite, but just because it is. It is my favorite. Here I have too many cards again. This is the Judgment card from the DruidCraft Tarot, Rebirth. I love those stones, that whole feel. I also love the Aeon in the Thoth. It's a different way of looking at the Judgment card. I love that, yeah. I guess I like the idea of the ancestors. This is kind of like a funny deck, the Circo Tarot or How to Deal Tarot. I'm not sure what is meant by this depiction. I'm gonna have to look it up. But I must say, looking through that deck, I kind of like this card. Finally, the last card. Last but not least, the World card. Surprise, surprise. Trionfi de la Luna. Always, always loved this card. Waite Smith. Really don't mind this one. From the Wild Unknown. Where you can see the snake skin and all the colors from that we know here on Earth. I love the little flowers that bloom. It's, I don't know, I feel this card would bring me safety on a trip or something. Couldn't help but include this one. I really love it. And also, this one's not bad at all, is it? I did my best, okay? In the end, I did show 5 cards for 1 card. But it's too hard. I would have to like merge the cards together in order to make the perfect depiction of that Trump. This was fun, and now I have a lot of cleaning up to do, which is... Thanks for that, Toadstool Tarot. Some decks had a lot of favorites, some decks not at all in here, but that doesn't mean that I don't like them, it just means that my favorite cards aren't in the majors. I'm going to leave you here and wish you all a nice week, and see you in the next one.